So you're just propped up on a stump before I head out in the garden here. But we've had a couple of frosts already, and I wanted to come out here and show you this morning's frosty morning before we have maybe our first snow tomorrow. So we'll see. But come to the garden and let me show you what's left over after our first couple of frosts here in November. So it happened. It snowed a lot, and as you can just see, the frost already pretty much killed everything, but the snow has completely covered everything now as well, so we'll have a few weeks here before we can take anything out of the actual garden. I mean, unless I go digging under the snow, I guess I could do that if I'm really desperate for some carrots or beets, but for the moment the garden is just gonna rest. I'm not taking you out there to show you. I'll give you a little preview from the window. Just imagine a lot of white and everything is covered. All that's sticking out is the trellises and a little bit of plant matter here and there that's completely brown. Now, of course, this is November and this is just what happens to the garden. It has a moment where it all dies and just takes a big rest. And we are doing the same thing. Now, for me, a part of the rest includes the planning period, which is kind of how we make it to the next couple of months. Not too sad that there isn't a garden, but starting to get excited about next year's garden. And so it's a time to reflect on all the things that worked well this year, and then think about things that we want to do differently next year, and actually start getting a plan together for next year. Now, it's November, and it actually is the perfect time to start thinking about what we want to plant for next year, because now will be the perfect opportunity to go through our seeds, see what we all have, see if we have enough for the plan that we have next year, and put in some seed orders. Now, it may seem really early, but a lot of people will be ordering over the next couple of months, so if there's something specific that you want, maybe now's the time to start looking at getting your order in place, because, well, you don't want it to be sold out or totally miss on something. But it's also nice to browse some new varieties, learn up about crops, and, well, for us, just really set on a plan for next year. This is also really important because basically in a couple of weeks here we're going to be starting onion seeds indoors already. There's some things that just take a really long time to start ahead of the season, and so I got to clear out our seedling cabinet and then also get ready to do those starts next month. So some things will start very early, yeah, including the ginger. Now will be the time to start getting ginger ready for ginger plants next summer. So it is a good time to rest, but it's also a good time to dream and plan for next year. So that's just what I'm going to do today. I'm going to unpack all the seeds I have. I've got my notebook here so that I can work on a bit of a crop plan for next year. And right now the plan for next year is production, production, production. Now we primarily grow a garden that is a mix of flowers and vegetables, and I love it that way. It's not very organized, and I think it's been a great benefit to vegetables because, well, now they're getting pollinated. It was just attracting a whole lot of beneficial, what do you call it? Animal activity, insect activity, to create a really healthy garden, and in some cases it would attract pests away from a certain plant. Yeah, just overall a mixed garden works very, very well. And I think we're going to do something similar to that this year, although a whole lot more focus on a bit more organization so that we can actually grow high numbers of things, specifically things that we really love to eat. We've experimented now over a couple of years with a lot of different varieties of zucchini, carrots, turnips, basically whatever could grow on the seed catalog that we would eat. But now we really know what we love to eat. And so this year, I'm really going to focus on growing big numbers of the things that we love to eat so that we can actually store it, preserve it, can it, do whatever with it, and benefit from those things year round instead of having a lot of garden space dedicated to things that we semi-love. Now this is kind of an echo of what I already said last year. Grow the things you love to eat. And I mean, I took some of that advice, but I still can't help but experiment with things here and there. But I think this year is a time for us to get a little bit more serious so that we have a little bit more to stack away at the end of next summer. Now some tips I can give you as you prepare is see what all you have, and I'm about to unpack all of our seeds here, and you will be surprised how much you actually have. And remember that just one little seed can make a plant, so in a lot of cases you don't actually have to buy more seeds. You probably already have everything you need, with the exception of some things, but it's definitely worthwhile taking stock, seeing what you've got, and determining if it's good enough for the start of the season, but also if you want to be succession sowing multiple times throughout the season, will you have enough of something to keep going? The other reason this is so good is because by the time I get to actually putting an order together online, I will be very distracted. It's so difficult, and I don't know if they do this on purpose or if it just happens automatically, but when you see all the varieties and options available, it's so hard to stay focused because, of course, it's nice to see all these exciting things that can grow. It's almost unbelievable that God made so many different varieties of things and so many different kinds of plants. I mean, of course we should experiment, and I can't promise that I won't, but stay focused because, of course, you can spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money on a lot of things that you probably won't love to eat in the future. And I think we're all guilty of that, of buying seeds for things that, we kind of love, we just wanted to give it a try. And of course there's nothing wrong with that, but for us, we're trying to grow food and save on a grocery bill, so I mean, it doesn't make sense to go also spending all this money on seeds that isn't actually gonna, lead us towards that and, lead us toward our goals. So that is a big tip when you are starting to seed shop online. If you are going to be very careful, make a cart, walk away from it and come back a day later or a couple days later and look at it very selectively and see what do you actually really need. And then put your seed orders in before the busy rush next year. So before I get started on my seed plan here, we also saved some seeds last year, and so just this week as I was cleaning out a cabinet over there, I found these seeds that we saved and labeling them in these Ziploc bags. So I can't forget about those too. I actually have saved some seeds, so not only do we have lots of seeds in these boxes, but I also have some seeds saved. And that is something very exciting to do if you've got this space, because of course you can save a lot of money that way if you can grow the plants but also leave some in the ground to go to seed, so you can save the seeds, so you don't have to buy seeds every year or so. But it does take a lot of room in the garden. You gotta actually wait for the plant to go through the whole process of dying, bolting, drying, producing that seed so that you can save it. So it doesn't work for everyone depending on how much garden space you have. But I'm gonna go grab those as well and include them in our planning. Something else I like to do in this time is spend a lot of time reading books about gardening and also paging through the very big seed catalog from Baker's Creek, which I think they call themselves Rare Seeds now. Oh no, they still say Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Their seed catalog is very interesting because of course they grow heirloom seeds that are just, you know, preserved and kept over many years, so that's a great seed company to support. And it's just a great looking seed catalog to get excited about and read about the varieties, a little bit more information in here. Don't get carried away by the seed catalog. They're meant to lure you in and get you to buy everything. And then I'll also read this book that I found in I guess it was like an old bookstore one time. It's called the 12th Month Gardener. And it's for our area here in the West Coast. And I just like reading through it and see what it, you know, recommends to get ready in the garden. This is flowers as well, but there is some helpful information for vegetables. So any kind of like reading material just to learn new things every year. And then my in-laws have this cute little book. It's called Herb Gardening. And I really enjoyed reading through here last year and just, yeah, learning a bit more about herbs. And I may go to the library and pick up some more books as the winter season goes on and just gain some more information. You know, it's helpful to kind of delve into these things every year. I learn new things and I'll probably never stop learning about gardening things. But that's another great resource, is just actually going to get books and, you know, reading up on some information if you find that interesting, which I assume that you do because you're watching this video. While I was out here looking for the Farmer's Almanac, I found something else. Not the Farmer's Almanac this year, but a different almanac. So I'll have to have a look at that and see how good it is. But it's a Canadian version, so I'm thinking it'll be good for us here in Canada instead of buying the Farmer's Almanac, which I believe is it US? It does have Canada stuff in it, but it's mostly US. Yeah, this may just be a good alternative to that. And then I also spotted the Baker's Creek seed catalog, which last year I ordered and waited so long for. So I only got my seed order in very late, but this year I spotted it here. So now I know in future I can buy it here if I want to. But of course I just started browsing through it and it is just gorgeous. So I grabbed it because I think I saw a few more varieties of cabbage, which it's nice to have updated information and see which varieties store well, especially because we're growing this year to store a lot of food. So yes, I grabbed the seed catalog as well. So excited to look through these. A big part of my planning includes printing off the months of the year, so just basic, you can get it from the internet, just get a free printable that you can print up a calendar. And then I will plot out roughly when things need to be started indoors, started outdoors, transplanted, or whatever the case may be, and kind of just pencil in days where I make a plan for myself. If there's something that I want a succession sow, then I will, you know, make note of those things. And so it actually can take a long time to plan out. Now you definitely don't have to do this, right? Like you can just look at the back of the seed packet, figure out when you need to plant it, and, you know, make a mental note and come back and grab that packet later and plant it a week or two before or after that date. Totally fine. And there's times where I make a plan and then totally veer off from it. That's fine. This is just kind of information gaining time for me, figuring out kind of roughly what the plan will be, and then of course I can deviate as I wish, but I don't know, I just do better approaching something with an actual plan. So I'm going to keep doing that as well. And I can link to that video about the planning that I did last year. Actually, it was a series, so if you're interested in watching that, I found it very helpful to just work through it step by step, starting with what you love, and then of course the calendar and then the map. So if you will find that interesting, I'll leave those links down for you below if you want to watch those.
Headed out for Nashville on the Hard Rock Line. I'm working on that old steamboat and learn to ride and steer. When my feet touch the
Alright, now this is probably going to take me a little while, and it may continue to the rest of the weekend, so I'm going to leave you off here. But that's what's going on in our garden for this November. A very restful garden out there that may be a bit chilly, but is in its season, and we're getting planning and ready for next year's garden. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and if you like this kind of content, things about the garden, you can usually find me there when it's a bit warmer, or you'll find me in the kitchen or planning some kind of camp trip or fun adventure somewhere. So if you're interested in that, please stick around and like this video if you'd like to see more content like this. Alright, see ya, bye.